Hello, moon babies. It's Molly and Wolfie. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to this Grimoire prompt video. So today is one of the first days here that I'm really starting to feel the seasonal transition. That springtime energy is making itself known, and I thought it would be fun for us to talk about ways to bring some of that into your grimoire. So whether you celebrate Ostara, the vernal equinox, Easter, spring transition, or a mixture of all of them, let's talk about some fun ways that we can tap into that magic and explore it in our magical books. So we have the equinox coming up. It could be an interesting experiment to find a really thought-provoking quote or collection of quotes about balance and add them to your book. Collage them in, try your hand at calligraphy if it's something you've been wanting to try, and then perhaps write and journal a little bit about your response to that quote. Try folding origami bunnies or hares and include them in your book and perhaps on your altar as a symbol of fertility and your growth in your creativity and your growth as an art witch. When we think about spring, we think about flowers and that budding, playful new life. It could be really fun to let your inner child go wild in your book, painting a field of flowers. You can do this with finger paints. You could use bottle caps to stamp flowers into your book, and it could be really fun to do this on a bold, perhaps dark background to make those colors really pop and stand out. So let your inner child go wild and play in a field of flowers. Try connecting to and deepening your relationship with springtime essence by taking a field trip. Go out into your neighborhood, onto the street, perhaps into your yard or a park or a local woodland, and make a list of all of the scents that you notice. What are the aromas of the season? And make a list in your book of your findings. I just recently did a big video on list prompts for your grimoire that you may wish to check out if you'd like more inspiration in the list department. But how many spring scents can you sense? Invoke the magic of fertility and hope, good luck, and in some cases, protection with egg imagery. We can't have a springtime grimoire prompt talk without talking about eggs, right? I remember being really deeply inspired by a book when I was a kid, Rishenka's Eggs, and the beauty of the illustrations in that book inspired me to cover everything in my world with patterns. I wanted to make eggs all of the time. And so then my parents had me start drawing eggs instead. But experimenting with using pattern is one way we can be inspired by egg magic, and another way is actually just creating images of eggs. Experiment with doilies, dyed coffee filters, repurposed candy wrappers, and even cupcake liners could be a fun option. Make a sweetbread or perhaps a cookie or a chocolate bark that includes edible flowers. So candied violets, pansies, lavender, floral elements to celebrate spring, and make sure to include your recipe as well as images, either photographs or your own illustrations of your enchanted confections. If her grimoire is full of pictures of cake, she might be a Taurus. might wish to pen a seed blessing, a blessing that you'll use for things that you are going to plant in your garden in the future. And if you don't have a garden, that's not a problem. You could always pen a blessing for your favorite houseplant or a tree that you visit often. Experience the equinox in your grimoire with a light and dark spread. So 2 pages side by side, one light, one dark. What feelings does this conjure up for you? Where does that composition want to go? What does it want to tell you? Use your intuition. You may also wish to challenge yourself further by using a very limited palette, perhaps using only black and white to create intense contrast and see how that feels. How could you incorporate the freshness of spring rain in your book? There's lots of ways that we use water. How could we incorporate spring rain into our magical journals? I like to do this by coloring sheets of paper with magic marker and then leaving them outside to be rained on, allowing them to dry out and see the patterns that are created by the raindrops. This is the season where the sap is rising and we're anticipating seeing signs of life from trees. Artists from cultures throughout time and all over the world have created interpretations of the tree of life. What does your tree of life look like? Include your interpretation in your grimoire. We recently did a tree pop-up tutorial for Grimoire Club on Patreon, so if that's something you're interested in checking out, I will leave a link to that in the down bar. I truly hope that these springtime prompts inspire some magic in your grimoire, in your practice, and in your life. If you're looking for additional ideas to celebrate spring, you can find 10 more prompts in a blog post that I've created for you. I'll leave a link to that in the down bar so you can explore that. I want to thank you so much for being here. And until we speak again, moon babies, witch on, witch boldly, and be well. Bye-bye. We're gonna be a ridiculous extra possum now, aren't we? Yes. Oh, it's all about you. It's all about Wolfie.